In a universe full of ideas, we draw lightness from the dark to a place where opposites attract. Right meets left, positive touches negative, sparking an explosion of truth. Because politics makes strange bedfellows.
But to bring you up to speed on the latest developments in this story, as you probably know by now, there was an assassination attempt of sorts. I guess I would classify it that way. I'm not sure if it was an assassination attempt or not. All I can say is it was very strange, a very strange incident. Happened yesterday in Los Angeles, which is where Robert F. Kennedy Jr. lives. He lives in the Los Angeles area with his wife, Cheryl Hines, the actress from Curb Your Enthusiasm. And he was in town this week, last night, doing a speech at the Wilshire Able Theater in central Los Angeles, historic theater. Been there since 1927, I think, when it opened. Beautiful place. I've actually been there. It's gorgeous. But there was some trouble last night. There was a gunman, an armed man, and I mean heavily armed, carrying at least a couple of handguns, had a lot of ammunition, had several knives in a backpack, and he was arrested at this event just before RFK Jr.'s speech. And he was pretending to be a federal agent, which is very strange. He told the police that he had been hired by Bobby's security team, his private security team. Gavin DeBecker and Associates provide security for Robert Kennedy. And it's very, very strange that this man was spotted by the alert men at Gavin DeBecker's team. They're the ones who said, hey, this guy doesn't look right. And they kind of took him aside. And Robert Kennedy posted a tweet, which I will read to you. This was his statement about the incident. He says, I'm very grateful that alert and fast-acting protectors from Gavin DeBecker and Associates spotted and detained an armed man who attempted to approach me at my Hispanic heritage speech at the Wilshire Able Theater in Los Angeles tonight. The man, wearing 2 shoulder holsters with loaded pistols and spare ammunition magazines, was carrying a U.S. Marshal badge on a lanyard and a belt clip federal ID. He identified himself as a member of my security detail. Armed Gavin DeBecker Associates team members moved quickly to isolate and detain the man until LAPD arrived to make the arrest. I'm also grateful to LAPD for its rapid response. And then he adds, I'm still hoping, still entertaining a hope that President Biden will allow me Secret Service protection. Hello, Secret Service, are you listening? I am the first presidential candidate in history to whom the White House has denied a request for protection. And now, of course, there is a viral hashtag going around social media tonight, Protect Bobby, and other hashtags of that nature. And people are tagging the Secret Service on Twitter like crazy, saying, hey, we need to get this guy some protection. And I would encourage you to call the White House if you feel the same way. Tell President Biden to provide this man to dispatch a detail to his side ASAP. Now, Mr. Kennedy's speech was not canceled. It went on as planned last night, went off without a hitch. Huge crowd there at the Wilshire Theater, and a very enthusiastic crowd. And we'll play you some footage from that speech last night that's very interesting in light of what happened before the speech. Of course, the gunman never got close to him. He was arrested before he could get in close proximity to Mr. Kennedy. And it's ironic because the Wilshire Theater is about 2 miles from the former location of the Ambassador Hotel, which is also on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. That's where his father, Robert F. Kennedy Sr., was assassinated on June 5th, 1968. on the campaign trail after he had just won the California primary. And that's very strange. A shiver goes down my spine just talking about it, and I'm sure it does for you too. Something that's really interesting to me, Rick, I'm sure you've noticed because you work in the news too. You notice how the mainstream media really is just kind of not covering this? I mean, you'll get maybe 30 seconds on the Today Show, or a 15-second spot on the evening news, but and it took 12 hours for the national desk at NBC to pick up the story. That was a full 12 hours after it happened. Now, imagine if this had happened, say, at a Trump event or a Biden event. Don't you think they would have been live on the scene, doing lots and lots of coverage for hours and hours? What do you think of that, Rick?
Yeah, I mean, probably. I think that they do try to suppress coverage of RFK Jr. generally, and yeah, I think they are
They
probably
do.
trying to ignore it. Now, I mean, we do have to kind of look at it from a variety of perspectives here. We don't know what his intent might have been or might be. I have my own already strong views on what I think has
Mm.
happened here
Hmm.
after looking at this. And I think it does deserve more attention. I think it deserves attention in other ways beyond this. I think this guy is a QAnon guy,
Oh,
probably.
definitely.
And
Definitely. You could,
that's
yeah.
and he has some things in his head that have
Mm.
prompted him to do whatever do what he did, and then beyond that, what he was going to do, we don't really know. Well, you know,
Right.
you can't charge someone with a pre-crime. He didn't actually pull his weapons out. He didn't threaten anyone. He did, I guess, make an attempt to approach RFK Jr., but there was no actual physical altercation or anything like that. It
Thank
never got
God.
that far, yeah, because
Thank
the
God.
security detail intercepted him before he ever got close to him, close enough to do anything like that, which is so that they did their jobs, right? So that's a good thing. But you can see the danger here. And here, I'll bring up this. You look at the tattoos on his
Oh,
hand. I blew
yeah.
that up, enhanced that today. I took a look. I don't
Mm.
know what that is on the top of his hand. I can't quite make that out. Maybe someone
Yeah.
has some idea what that might be. But the
The
word
first
free,
word on the top,
free, yeah. Yeah, I
well,
don't know what
free is
that
on his
is.
fingers, and then you've got
Yeah,
pride, but I can't make out the word at the top.
don't know.
Yeah.
Is it white?
Well, that was my first thought. It
I don't
looks
know.
like white
I
pride, but I
it
cannot
does, but
confirm that.
I can't confirm it
It
either.
does kind of look like white pride.
Yeah, and
Um,
free on his fingers, right?
mhm.
Although I don't think he's white.
Well, those look like biker tattoos, and
Yes.
well, his
Did
arrest record says he's a Hispanic male.
yeah.
I'll give you some additional information that I've garnered this afternoon from the Kennedy 24 press office, and Kennedy's press secretary, Stephanie Spear, sent me this. Says that the alleged gunman appeared at a side door of the venue, claiming to be part of Mr. Kennedy's security team. He told RFK Jr.'s actual protectors with urgency that he needed to be taken to the candidate immediately. Observing that the man had a handgun, Kennedy's security team removed him from the area, isolated, surrounded him, and notified the LAPD. Nobody was harmed, as Rick just said. Now, LAPD also took custody of a second man who arrived at this event with the suspect. And it turns out that's the suspect's brother who brought him to the event. Um, Kennedy's security team said that the man seeking access to Mr. Kennedy had a backpack found to contain at least one other handgun, and he had two holsters, apparently with guns on him. So this could be three guns in all, with two in holsters on his person and another gun in a backpack. Also, multiple knives and extra ammunition, but they didn't say exactly how much extra ammunition. The security imposter, as they call him, who was wearing sunglasses, appeared to have laid his plans in advance as he was carrying what appeared to be a U.S. Marshal badge on a lanyard with a belt clip federal ID. The Kennedy campaign is seeking additional information from witnesses who were there, might have seen something, and law enforcement authorities. And again, the suspect's name is Adrian Paul Aispuro.
Have you seen his video?
Yeah, but I'm sure some of our viewers haven't seen it yet. Let's take a look. Is this the arrest video that you have?
Oh, well, they've got that. And did you see this guy's video on TikTok?
Yeah.
Which one do you want first?
Let's take a look at him being arrested, since we're talking about him being taken into custody. He's 44 years old, and Adrian Paul Aispuro, Aispuro.
Oh boy, I had it. I've had so much stuff up. I've got the other one queued.
Sure, either one.
Let's go with that one first. Okay, so this is
really weird.
It is. It's pretty weird.
Mind bending.
But the scary thing is, I understand it.
Yikes!
Yes.
No, I don't. Oh my God.
I don't understand all of it, but I understand much of it. And that's why I think that
it's a scary feeling.
Yeah, it is. It's
okay,
I understand this guy.
Just don't tell me you relate to him, Rick.
I don't.
My Lord.
Oh shit, big homie Zorro over here.
Shit, just the puta I needed to see. More like God's gangster.
Shit, I hear you're the man with the plan. What's the word?
I got it all. Actually, there's too much to tell you right now. So I want you guys to go over to Rumble. Check out Icons 2020. Sarge. I will be speaking with him. And Alex Collier. You're not retiring, homie. You didn't fucking ask me, dog. I need you, sport. My name is Adrian Paul Aispuro. First name, Adrian. Middle name, Paul. Last name, AIS as in Sierra, P as in Paul, URO. Calculate my full name in gematria and calculate my last name in gematria and do your fucking research on that last name and you'll know who you're fucking with. Alright? I need to speak to the Hells Angels. I need to speak to the Mongols. Contact me at STOIC medic, MEDIC 717@gmail.com. Let's fucking break some kneecaps. Let's go for a ride, dog. Let's fuck it up. Alright? I'm putting this planet on lockdown. DEFCON 1. Regulators mount up. Stay-at-home orders effective now. That's what's happening. Take care of each other. Protect the women and the children. If I don't make it back, call the fucking president. Your commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump.
What? Huh? Wow. Okay, there's a lot to unpack. Let's just say there's a lot to unpack there.
Do you want me to explain?
Well, I tell you what, we'll get to it. I just want to catch you up on the latest updates.
Help
first.
us, please.
Because I know you're raring to go, and so am I.
DEFCON 1.
It's DEFCON 1. Whatever.
Planet's on lockdown.
Oh boy. Jeez. I don't even know if I can get through this, but I've been working this. I've been on the phones today with LAPD. I've been, in contact with the campaign and witnesses who were there. My friend Craig Pasta Jardula, who's been a guest on this show, journalist who's filling in for Jimmy Dore for a couple of weeks over there at the Jimmy Dore show. He's out in LA. He went to the event last night, and he was not there, of course, when this happened. He was already inside the venue, was unaware of it until hours later. because the media wasn't reporting it. But he said that security was extra, extra tight last night. Craig travels around, follows Kennedy on the campaign trail, covers a lot of his events. And, the campaign knows him by now. The staff knows he's safe. He's not there to hurt Mr. Kennedy. He's just there with a camera to cover him. And Craig said that last night he didn't get to ask his question and during the Q&A period because security was so tight that they weren't letting anybody close to that stage. They were taking no chances, not even for our friend Pasta. So that was interesting. So there was an interview. Adrian's brother, Raymond, who was briefly detained by the police, gave interviews to the Daily Beast, and he also spoke to the New York Post. And he says that this entire thing is a big misunderstanding, and that his brother is unemployed EMT, emergency medical technician, said that he had been told that there was a security job for him there. I'm just going to read a quote from Raymond Aispuro, 38 years old, his younger brother. He told the New York Post that Adrian approached the security guard asking about a point of contact for someone. They didn't know who he was talking about. They told him to stay right there. He did. And the next thing happens, the cops show up and arrest him. Raymond insists that his brother has a clean criminal record, says he's not a stalker, not even a political guy, and has no connection to the federal government.
Of course not.
Of course not. It says, quote, "My brother got bad information from someone or was misled somehow. I really don't think he was there for any other purpose except for work." No. He says that his brother had his gun holstered, never took it out, never displayed any aggression. But in that July 31st TikTok video that we just saw, it was obviously menacing. It was threatening. It was often incoherent. And you can see his gun and his fake marshal badge prominently on display. Not only that, he wants you to know his name. He even spells it for you, and he tells you how to solve it in gematria, if you're into that sort of thing, the numerology, gematria. But this guy is obviously just not right in the head. I need to speak to the Hells Angels. I need to speak to the Mongols. Those tattoos he has are probably biker tattoos. They do look like biker gang tattoos to me. And he's like, let's break some fucking kneecaps. Let's fuck things up. I'm putting this planet on lockdown. Take care of the women and the children. And, he has his Betsy Ross flag there in the background. Obviously considers himself some kind of patriot. And I did look up he is still in custody. I think earlier there had been some false reports saying that he was already out on bond and that this man was roaming the streets of Los Angeles tonight. He is not. As of last check, I keep checking every couple of hours to see if he's had an arraignment, if he's seen a judge. He has not yet. He is still in custody in the Los Angeles, I guess, the county jail. He was born on August 13th, 1979, 44 years old. Adrian Paul Aispuro. We have a closer look at this. Yeah, he is at the Wilshire station. And our guests tonight are both residents of the Los Angeles area, so they can probably tell me exactly where that jail is. Rick, looks like you found the video of him being taken into custody. You want to roll it?
Here we go.
Sure.
Planet's on lockdown.
Officer, we have a bomb dog. You want to take a look at that bag really quick before you guys get into it?
Yes, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, okay, well, wait.
Just saying. Glad he didn't have a
It
bomb.
will. Find out how long until Doug. Yeah. Yeah.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! Wow. This is just so crazy, isn't it? I want to bring in our guests. They've been just like, let me in on this. Let me in on this. It's a real pleasure to have both of you not only here with us tonight, because you're two of the Kennedy assassination historians and researchers that I personally respect the most, but to have you together back here on Maverick News. You've both been guests before. And to have the panel, the old gang back together again, because I know you two have collaborated a lot over the years. I was reading your stuff back in the 90s when you were writing together as a team. And down here on the right, ladies and gentlemen, is our friend Jim DiEugenio. I almost tripped over your name. Sorry, Jim.
Good evening.
You'd think I would be able to pronounce it by now.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Jim is the author of many books on the Kennedy assassinations, both JFK, RFK, and MLK as well. And of course, wrote the screenplay for Oliver Stone's new documentary film, JFK Revisited, and Destiny Betrayed, and so many great books. It's a pleasure to have you back, Jim. And we also have down here on the left our friend Lisa Pease, who was just with us a couple of months back. We had her in for an interview on the 55th anniversary of the murder of Robert Kennedy in Los Angeles. Lisa has done what I think is the penultimate book about the assassination conspiracy. It's called A Lie Too Big to Fail. And welcome back to the show, Lisa. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, where do we
Yeah, I
begin,
almost
my
went
friends?
to the jail last night to see if I could talk to this guy because I really wanted to see if he was in some sort of a hypnotic trance or something.
I bet you did.
Oh my
Wonder.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And
Well,
like
let's
you,
unpack
I've been
this. What do you think? I'll
Yes, I've
start
been
with you.
researching all day, and I know, Rick wants to talk about all the references in there. I went and looked up where he lived. He's from the Valley. It appears he's been living with his mother for several years, possibly due to a medical accident he apparently had that cost him his job as an EMT, which he had been for many years. And according to his brother, and I'm not sure how trustworthy that is or not, I just don't know. I'm not trying to disparage the brother. But according to his brother, he was actually trying to raise money to help his brother because he lost his job after he supposedly rescued somebody. He lifted like a 300-pound man in and tried to help him when no one else was available. And then he hurt his own spine and had huge medical bills, and supposedly the county let him go. Again, don't know if that's true. That's what his brother said on a GoFundMe page that somebody sent me earlier today. It does seem to have a large
an active
fan.
fundraiser right now. Is that GoFundMe still up?
No, somebody sent me, I think, a screenshot, or did I go to the actual? I don't remember now if I went to the actual page. It's not a recent page. It's a very old page because he apparently stopped working in 2017. You can see in that video he's wearing an EMT shirt, essentially. I even looked up his home address because I found that on Google. And out front was a car with a Support Our Troops yellow sticker and an Air Force sticker and something else. And it seems on his own TikTok page, there's a Marine Corps insignia. I mean, for somebody who wants to call out the federal government, he seems to have a lot of love for it. It opens with a POW flag for veterans. I mean, here's a guy who fits more the, how do I want to say? Yeah, I mean, it really looks like an intelligence agent. I understand he had some financial troubles from my research. I mean, he would have been an easy target, let's put it that way. If somebody wanted to get a guy like that, living with his mother, no, credible means of support. At one point, he was
who does
involved
that
in
sound
something
like?
called, yeah,
Who does that
really. And
sound
then
like?
he listed himself as the owner of something that was like an online travel agency that people did from their homes, but people online were saying that whole thing was a big scam. And so, I don't know, never dealt with that particular agency. I literally only found one article about it, as if, how do I want to say it? If it was some sort of a CIA front company, it would make sense that there would be like one article saying it's legit, nothing else anywhere on Google. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, the way he talks, he positions himself as God's warrior. It's almost like somebody wanted to discredit Trump by having a Trump supporter kill Kennedy. And that way they get rid of
which makes no sense at the same time. Not a lick of sense.
Well, no, but it didn't make sense that Oswald wanted to kill Kennedy either, right? Or that Sirhan wanted to kill Robert Kennedy, except for the little fake myth they made about him, But he's like, Sirhan at his own trial said, when I saw Kennedy, I thought he was a god. It's like he looked, I loved him. It was so disconnected from what then happened later in the pantry.
And I kind of wonder too about this guy. If he, I mean, he didn't say anything about hating Kennedy. It sounded like he was either showing up because somebody told him they had a job for him.
Well, he did tell his brother that he had a private security job, which he clearly did not have.
And maybe, I guess what I'm saying is maybe he kind of is one of those people who thinks that, God called him to come protect Kennedy and he was there of his own accord because he loved Kennedy. He didn't want to hurt him. Maybe he was like just trying to, jump in there and be one of Kennedy's protectors.
I don't think so.
I don't know.
See, the thing is, I think you guys are from Texas. California, you cannot brandish a weapon in
at
public.
All. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this guy comes
you can't
to
impersonate a federal officer.
a speech, and he's got 2 guns loaded with ammo and one hidden weapon in his backpack. I mean, what are you asking to be arrested? That's just so out of this world. Because
would have stood out like a sore thumb.
Let me tell you, all the years I've been in California, I see these films of people back east in North Carolina, carrying around it. You will not see anybody, carrying a gun anywhere. And I've been here for over 30 years. Lisa's been here all her life.
Yeah,
I've never seen anybody carrying a gun, open carry.
Right.
You just don't do it here.
You just don't. You can't.
And this guy says he's applying for a job brandishing these guns.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's
wacko.
And he's in that video
done some serious damage.
Yeah, in that video, he's like, I want to talk to the Hells Angels and the Mongols. Well, the Mongols are like so criminal, a gang that they're forbidden from wearing their logo when they bike together. I was just reading about them earlier. It's like, this guy, there's something just completely off. This is not a normal person.
And then he calls Donald Trump our president.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. Check the calendar.
Do you guys have any idea why?
No, I
really explain why.
Yeah.
It scares me, but I understand why.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rick. I know.
In my estimation, this guy is a QAnon person.
100%.
Okay, so why does he say these things? Well, I can show you, actually. I hate to kind of give people the entrance to the rabbit hole, but you will find it here. I've been studying this stuff. I've been immersed in it, actually, unfortunately, for many months. It starts with things like this, and this is a guy near the top of the information food chain. His name is Derek Johnson. And come on, get up there on the screen. I won't run the video. The information that this gentleman shares with people seems very credible. He cites executive orders by number. He gives you very, I find when I listen to him and then research the information he provides, I find it very difficult, extremely difficult to discredit anything he says.
Okay,
because
he's
very
executive orders are put online and you can read them.
That's right. And so
you can easily go check that.
Oh, yes. And he provides those references, which makes it even more difficult to debunk or discredit anything that he says. Here's, and this is a website that he cites, that he actually has created with the relevant links to all of the information that he provides. And as you scroll down, he does provide, these are all links, and it all starts, and it's quite extensive. I won't go into all of it here, but what, in a nutshell, he is, the whole Trump thing, still being president. Actually, he says, specifically, he says he's the commander in chief, because these guys believe right now, the current thinking is that he's not necessarily the president, but he never gave up being commander in chief. And they believe, based on these executive orders that Trump wrote before he left office, that he still retained the powers as commander in chief. And there are executive orders that he uses and references there to support this. Now, it's all laid out right there.
Have you looked at any of those?
I have. I went and I looked. I've looked at a lot of this stuff. So, and as you, but what's really going on, in my view, is one of the most sophisticated. It is the most sophisticated, the most dangerous, psychological psyop going ever, and they are in people's heads, in a en masse. And it has infected people like some mental cancer, a huge tumor that is just, it's gone, it's spreading like wildfire. It's up here in Canada now. It is, it needs attention. I don't know how this can ever be addressed, but there is mass mental illness. And if you learn about this and if you dare to touch it, if you dare to start looking at the stuff, because you can get infected too very, very easily with this. It's so sophisticated. I'm struggling with it myself. I have been for a long time, because you can get sucked down into it, right? But this is what it is, and that's why I recognize it because of what he's saying. The phrases, the words. It's all based on sovereign citizenry, common law. That's why he's making references to the bikers, because that kind of free ideology. We're not really citizens. The government doesn't have any authority over us.
Oh yeah,
all of that ideology, that's woven into the biker culture. It's all of that, and that's why on that tattoo, free on his fingers, immediately I'm like, this guy's like got to be a freeman on the land, or a sovereign citizen. He's with one of these groups, and then you listen to what he says, and it links me right back to that. I get fed this information by people. I'm right in touch with all of what's going on with all of that, and I have.
The Sarge character he quoted on the video, he talked about Icons 2020 Sarge, and I went and looked it up.
I'm not really.
Can you explain that, Lisa? What is that?
Yeah, I was going to say, he's a weird combination. He opens with this really cheesy
Star
Trek
threw me
video.
for a loop. I didn't understand it.
And it's like he tries to mix New Age spirituality with QAnon and Trump, propaganda. Yeah. And it's the weirdest mix, because, again, to me, if you're a spiritual person, you couldn't possibly stand Trump. They are completely opposing diametrics there. And so it's just bizarre how this has all been woven together. He opens by calling himself, a warrior for God, or God's soldier, or whatever he said at the start of that video. Who's filming him? Well, it's literally the only video
probably
on
his brother.
TikTok feed. And it's interesting, because I looked at that early on. As soon as somebody put it on my feed, I went right to it. It had like 10 views and no comments. And now it's like up to 66 views and stuff. But it's like he filmed it, he put it up there. There's no other videos. Yeah. It's almost like it was planted just for this event.
Exactly.
So that you would find
it reminds me, and I have to ask Jim DiEugenio about this. Doesn't that have a feel like the staged incident of Lee Harvey Oswald on the streets of New Orleans, the staged arrest, and then his interview with WDSU TV before the assassination, where he's just wanting the whole world to know who he is, kind of thing, and
Well, if he was the only member of the FPCC in the whole city,
New Orleans chapter,
right? He's the only guy. I mean, who the heck passes out FPCC pamphlets in the city streets of New Orleans. Okay, so everybody can
The heart
see,
of the South.
and my God, who films people doing that?
And the media just happened to be there with cameras.
They just
and
happened to be
captured
there.
the whole thing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so this guy, by the way, Lori, when did that go up? That film that you showed?
It's
The
from
video
July.
of TikTok, that was
Yeah,
from
it's
July
from July.
31st. And it's
In
the only
July?
video on his TikTok channel. Just that one
Okay.
video.
In July.
So that
Okay.
tends to indicate he may have been planning this a couple of months in advance.
So 6 weeks
Planning
later,
something.
this happens? Six-
It's
what a
suspicious as heck. Yeah.
coincidence. And it happens to be 2 blocks away from the ambassador.
Or 2
the
miles.
More than
location.
2 blocks.
2 miles.
Yeah.
About halfway between where I live and.
It's
the
about 2
ambassador.
miles, isn't it, Lisa?
Yeah.
It's about 2 miles, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't
Mile
here.
and a half, yeah.
Manny Kang called me last night, and he says, Jim, I'm going to go to this speech with Robert Kennedy down here in the Wilshire district. Do you want to come? And I go, Manny, I've got to drive all the way from the East Valley. I'll never make it in time. And he goes, okay, I understand, but let me tell you one thing. It's 2 miles from the ambassador. That's the last thing he said to me.
Bizarre.
That's the
is
way
just
Manny
bizarre.
thinks.
Okay. So, Lisa, I told them.
I've been to the Wilshire Bell Theater and for
Have you?
political events. It's commonly
Beautiful.
used by Democrats. I saw,
Mhm.
and I'm blanking on her name now, but she was then my congresswoman, and I went to see her speak there. And I've been to a lot of events in these small venues, and they always make me nervous because it is hard to provide adequate security in a small place. In
True.
a bigger place, the stage is much more separated. I freaked out when I heard Kennedy was going to speak at the Humphreys Half Moon Inn in San Diego because I had just been to that hotel and I knew how small that stage was. And it's like you could shoot him from a boat and no one would know where the shot had come from.
Oh, yes, yes. That venue where
Yeah,
the boats
yeah.
can just, cruise right by, and someone could have maybe
Yeah.
pulled off a
But
shot.
I want to go back just briefly. My point is, when somebody already has this kind of mind issue, when they are in need of money, they're just the real targets for intelligence operatives, and especially if he had any military connections. When I say intelligence operatives, I am not eliminating military intelligence, which is
I
very
have a
good
feeling
at
we're going to
finding
find out he's
lost
probably
souls.
a veteran and maybe a Marine. And wouldn't it be weird if he was a Marine? Because Oswald
Yep.
was a Marine and Thomas Arthur Valley was a Marine. Anyway.
And the Navy was known to do serious mind control programs for decades. And I believe they are probably still doing them because there's never been any official investigation into their programs. So why would they shut them down voluntarily, especially when they work so well? They wouldn't. I'm sure
Rick,
they're still doing them.
That guy that guy you showed a film of,
Yep.
is he part of QAnon?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Definitely. And you know how I can tell for sure?
Mhm.
When he brings up his name, he says that you have to figure it out in gematria. And gematria is like this sacred numerology that QAnon people believe in. And every letter.
So weird.
has
I had to
its
look
own-
it up.
Every letter of his name has a number corresponding to it, and then you figure out the sum of all that. So if anybody out there understands gematria,
I
take the
do.
guy's
I
name
actually
and
went
do
and
the
looked it
math
up.
and figure it out and let
Yeah,
us
let me
know.
let me clarify.
Yeah.
Jim, you were asking about the guy. Were you referring to the gunman, or are you referring
no.
to the
I'm
Derek
the guy.
Johnson guy?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you were asking about.
Yeah, Derek
Adrian.
Johnson. He does like online country videos, like music videos. He's quite good, but he's definitely part of the whole Q community, and he posts regularly. And I get his information a lot, and he has risen to prominence within the movement in the last few months. And this narrative that he's spinning up about Trump still being the commander in chief is being embraced, and it's also fueling this belief that these white hats are coming to rescue us from this terrible evil government that we have, which is terrible and evil, but the white hats are coming to rescue us all, and Trump is, still really in charge, and he's just waiting for the right moment to reveal it all to the public. And this is so widespread that you're seeing these videos out of Maui talking about Marines going toe-to-toe with police and arresting cops there and arresting others. And there was supposed to be a Marine who was actually shot and killed in a battle of some kind that took place there, and that's been spreading and being shared. It's really insane, but it's up here in Canada now too. That's how I've really come to sort of identify it. Never really was here years ago, but it is here now, and it is spreading like crazy. Because you know what? We all have to save the children.
Yeah, now it's all about saving the children. But as I'm sure Jim and Lisa are well aware, because they attend all of the JFK assassination research conferences in Dallas and in other parts of the country, in more recent years, there's been this influx of QAnon people showing up to the JFK conferences and spending a lot of money on merch and buying your books. And, a lot of them buy your books, Lisa. They buy your books, Jim. They're really interested. And there's this weird.
I wish my book would wake them up.
You know what I mean, though? I'm saying is there's this weird fascination that the Q people have with the Kennedys.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.